Joey. Joey.
Huh?
What time is it?
Oh, it's time for the
Two Cat Kitchen. It's time for us to pitch in and start another Two Cat show. Down at the Two Cat Kitchen, we're starting on a mission to put you in the culinary know. We've got the finest recipes you ever will find, guaranteed to show you all a mighty fine time here at the Two Cat Kitchen. Time for a new edition of the Culinary Two Cat Show. The Culinary Two Cat Show.
Welcome to the Two Cat Kitchen, the show that mixes musical mayhem with culinary calamity. David Luken is here to help with the mixin'.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us.
Each episode features brand new songs, a brand new recipe, and a special musical guest. Who's our musical guest today?
Today we have two guests. We have dynamic musical duo Sandol Astrausky and Rory MacLeod.
Sounds great. You know, each episode of the Two Cat Kitchen also includes an informative segment. What do we have for the people today?
Today we have Taking the Mystery Out of History with Mr. O'Malley.
Wow, sounds good. I wonder what he's going to be talking about today.
Your guess is as good as mine.
All right, we'll find out later on.
Hey Rick, how come I don't hear the Coconuts playing?
Oh, the Coconuts, they're still out on tour. It's their Waffle House tour.
What? They have live music at the Waffle House?
No, they're not actually playing at the Waffle House. They're just trying to go to as many Waffle Houses as they can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know those guys. They love their hash browns.
Oh, I hope they don't come back all smothered and covered.
Meanwhile, we'll be right back with today's musical guests, right here at the Two Cat Kitchen. Welcome back to the Two Cat Kitchen, and I'm joined today by our roving reporter, David Luken. David, thank you for joining us for this special
You betcha.
moment in the
Good
Two
to
Cat
be
Kitchen.
here, Rick.
Yeah, and we'd like to introduce our musical guests for this episode. So happy these guys could join us, and we're actually right in their kitchen. And we have Sandol Astrausky and Rory MacLeod. Thanks, guys.
Hi.
Thanks for joining
Hi.
us.
Can you
Thanks
take
for
your
getting-
shoes off, please?
I was going to ask you if I could take my shoes off. It's kind of too late for that because I've already trod through your
see that.
kitchen.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so anyway, Sandal fiddle player and Rory on guitar and various other instruments too. We'll hear a little bit of that. And so I wanted to ask you guys, what have you been up to musically lately?
I had a bluegrass gig last Sunday.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. At
Bluegrass.
at the Wood River.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It was kind of fun.
Do you play bass with that?
Yeah, that's it, yeah. That's the only thing anyone will hire me to play.
That's interesting. How did it go? Yeah.
Good. So I've been playing a lot more bass.
Yeah.
Recently I got a pretty decent bass and got my thumb rebuilt.
Yes. Okay.
So now I can play without pain,
Yeah.
which is good.
Have you guys been doing anything as a duo or?
No, except teaching.
Okay.
We're playing at the Roots Stomp, is that what it's called?
I don't recall.
At the United Theater on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't pay a whole lot of attention when gigs come up.
That's in Westerly.
I go along for the ride and just make sure my fiddle is tuned up.
Nice. So you go as needed.
Yeah, if they need
Yeah.
a fiddle player, I'll play. If he needs, if he wants to play as a duo and he needs a fiddle player, I'll do it.
Nice. I don't think that's really the case, but it sounds good anyway.
Except when you won't.
Yeah,
Well,
there's plenty of times that you won't.
There are plenty of times that I won't. So
That's your.
I play with a
Yeah.
roving reporter,
Ah,
Mr. Luken, fairly regularly at a farmer's market down in Kingston.
Kingston, Rhode Island, that is, for those of you
Yeah.
not familiar with our...
And Wood
This-
River's in Rhode Island.
Wood
too.
River, yeah, it's in beautiful Wood River, Rhode Island, right?
Yes.
Is it Wood River?
Wyoming.
No,
No.
no, it's Wyoming, I think.
Wyoming.
It might be Hope Valley.
Wyoming, Rhode Island.
Wyoming, Rhode Island.
Richmond.
Is there a Wyoming in every state? Do you know?
Oh, probably.
I don't think so.
I think there is.
I didn't do my research on that.
No, thank you, David.
Sorry.
And so,
The only honest one in the room.
so you guys, I've known you guys for a long time, and you guys are really dialed into the old time music scene here in southern New England, I think. And so I just would like to ask you a little bit about like what old time music is to me a great style of music, but it's a little mysterious. David, do you have any insights for us on old time
He
music?
tried to explain it in the last podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm following up at David's
This is
podcast.
part 2.
Yeah, yeah.
Explaining old time to the
Yeah.
general public.
Yeah,
No,
what do you
I'm
have for
done.
us?
Well, the most significant quote about it is, "Old time is better than it sounds,"
It's better than it sounds.
which is, it turns out that something that Mark Twain said about Wagner, I think. But it's been reintroduced as old time. The point is, it's a lot more fun to play it than it is to listen to it.
I
It's
get it.
very rarely fun to listen to.
The few times that I've played old time music, and I think it's probably been with you guys, I have no idea what I'm doing. I've probably played bass with you a few times, and I've had a total blast. But I always feel like I don't know I'm not doing it right, you know.
I don't think anyone noticed.
Yeah, I don't think it would
But
be
it-
noticed.
yeah.
The satisfaction is getting a really, really solid groove.
Oh, okay.
And that's really all there is. That's why you play the same melody over and over again.
Yeah, all right. That makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. So it's kind of like a groove.
Yeah.
And, being a bass player, I can relate to that.
Well, it's dance music. No one's mentioned that. The importance of
Except no one dances to it in our...
not in our kitchen. I mean, some people have, but it's a lot of the melodies are for dance, square dances. So-
We've been, by the way, for the we've been joined by Kipper.
Who took his shoes off, I
Who's-
see.
yeah, he did take his
He's
shoes
not.
off.
He's in the He's not in the two cat kitchen. We're on site here. Yes.
Well, he heard you mention 2 cats, and he had to come out and see what was.
Okay, so he's gonna lie on top of the microphones. All right. Well,
Good
I think we
boy.
kind of delved kind of deeply into old time music. I think we kind of got
What
to the
more is
bottom
there
of
to
it.
say?
As deeply as one wants to delve into.
Okay. So, do you guys have another song for us? I haven't even done a song yet.
Our current favorite
Yeah.
is a version of Vicious Hornpipe.
Fischer's Hornpipe. It's a.
A lot of people know this tune, but this version is pretty fun.
It's a hornpipe.
It's a hornpipe, yeah, and it's from the playing of Benton, Flippen in North Carolina.
I have heard that name. I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
where.
a great
David?
name.
It's in the ether.
He He wasn't. It wasn't that long ago that he died. You know, he was contemporary. You know, I know he made it through to this century. Like a lot of
Fiddle player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds great.
Want to give it a go?
Yeah.
Play
Give it a go.
3 times. Okay.
Yeah. We don't want to torture the audience. Okay, the dog's
Kipper
coming
loves
down.
this tune. He just came back.
Here comes Kipper.
All right.
We're back at the Two Cat Kitchen. Hey, that was a great number. Fischer's Hornpipe.
Yes.
Do,
Yeah.
do you have anything? Do you have any insight into that, David?
Who, me?
Yes. Yeah, I was
I
thinking.
actually did have a question because Sandal said that it was from the playing of Benton Flippen,
Yes.
and it's like a very common tune with like many versions and
Right.
different ways of playing it, and his is unique from what I've heard, and I'm wondering, do you think that he like crafted it and that he like arranged it kind of on his own, or do you think it was like an organic thing and we just thank him for giving us the recording of it?
Well, I think back in the day, maybe in the 30s and 40s, you could buy these tunes in a package. And when they arrived, you would assemble them.
Okay.
And if a couple pieces were missing, you'd have to make up
You'd have to make up for that.
whatever part was missing.
Or
You're
maybe
not
he
being
assembled it
serious.
in the wrong
Out of
order.
He
Yeah.
might have assembled it in the wrong order, and I think in this
if you
particular...
spill your beer on all the instructions, then you got to figure out how to put it together.
I'm not sure it was beer at that point
Yeah, probably
either.
moonshine.
Actually, and if it was
Cider.
anything like those IKEA things that you get, I mean,
Oh.
how could you even put it together the right way, right?
You need a village to
Yeah.
put one of those together.
It's the last question I'm asking. I tried to be sincere.
I knew what you meant.
Maybe it's an unanswerable question.
I mean, if you really need it answered seriously, I'll try right now.
I mean, this is for the listening public.
Okay, well, moving on. And actually, I think that's a good. You had a good segue there, David, because I wanted to ask you guys about. I know you're doing something at Brown University to do with
Yeah.
old time music, or
Yeah, pretty
what
astounding.
exactly is up with that?
And are you sincere when you do?
Yeah, we have to be sincere with that.
Okay.
We are considered adjunct professors, is that correct? And we teach a course called Old Time String Band class once a week on Tuesday nights. And we've been doing it for about 10 years now. And it's been growing every semester. We get more and more students. And we just teach repertoire, old time
kidding.
repertoire.
So you teach fiddle
We took
tunes.
the class for 5 or 6 years. We went up every Tuesday and took the class from our mentor, Jeff Titan.
Oh, okay.
And when he decided to retire, he asked us to take over the class.
Wow.
So it's just kind of serendipity.
It's really fun. I love teaching, especially college-age students. They're great.
Wow. That's now when people take the class. Do they play the fiddle or something, or do they play an instrument?
They have
Yeah,
to.
they.
Oh, okay.
So we teach. I teach fiddle, the repertoire on the fiddle, and Rory teaches banjo, guitar, ukulele. There are sometimes cellists that come and want to play.
Oh, okay.
Mandolin.
We've had viola. We
We've
had really
a
good violas.
viola player. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they bring their instruments and we work with them and try to get a little bit of a repertoire built for the end of the semester square dance. I think David's still stewing over there because I didn't answer his question about.
No, I was actually thinking a little interesting footnote that for some reason just now occurred to me is that I met Sandol and Rory at the Brown string band class before they became the instructors when it was still...
No, I think we were the instructors.
Well,
Really?
Jeff was there, yeah.
Oh, he was,
It was
okay.
2009.
Wow, I think we took over in 2010.
That
So yeah,
seems
well
like
that's amazing. Well,
They,
we go,
they
we
became
go
instant
back.
stars because in the previous podcast you realized that David mentioned that he was at Berea College. Now Berea College is the mecca for field recording old time. And so when we found out they were from Berea, they were instant stars.
I see.
And they had no idea that at that time they hadn't heard old time. They just came to the class.
And I didn't even, I was like trying to play accordion at the time. and Rory was like, well, you can play bass, you know, you don't even have to like, you can just pluck the strings and you can play in D.
So I brought you in as an interviewer here for your expertise in old time music, and you say that you'd never heard it before, that you ran into the... Okay.
He
well,
forgot.
I mean,
He forgot.
I figure you can kind of just make most of it up.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Right.
All right. That sounds great. Well, hold that thought. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Two Cat Kitchen. We are here with Sandal Astrausky and Rory MacLeod talking about old time music. And speaking of old time music, I understand that the two of you host a kind of a outdoor music extravaganza that you've been doing for a couple years now on your fabulous property in Hope Valley,
Yes.
Valley, Rhode Island.
Hope Valley, Rhode Island.
USA.
Yes.
What's that called, and what the heck is it?
Valley Top. It's a Valley Top festival. It's an old time.
That's a weird name.
Well, we're in Hope Valley on top of a hill, so it's.
That's not why we called it that.
That's why I called it
We
that.
call it that because there's a really big festival that we like to go to in West Virginia called Cliff Top. And they closed it down fairly late in the second COVID year. So we figured that there was a lot of people that had already put space for their vacation to go there and couldn't change it, so they'd be out of things to do. So we decided to have it during that week. It was fun.
And what sorts of things go on at this Valley Top event?
Well, whatever does go on at Valley Top stays at Valley Top.
But we're there,
Number one.
kind of.
Now, people, we had, it's been going for about 3 years, and we this year had roughly 85 people camping on the property and coming in for a day or,
Day trippers.
Day trippers. So people come and they put up tents or bring a camper, and then just stay for a week and play old time music with each other. And we just have big jam sessions, sort of potluck dinners in the evening. We are on the Wood River, so you can go down and do kayaking and swimming. It's great. It's just a
And we also feature a very
week.
sought after t-shirt
yes.
every year. Our friend Danny Davis designs a very spiffy t-shirt.
I think some of the people come for the T-shirt
Yeah.
every year. But no, it's really fun. There's no agenda. There are no concerts, performances, anything. We just hang out and play music, old time music. It's really fun. And
That's great. Can people find out more about this? Or is this something that's you don't want people to find out more?
well, I don't know. 85 was a great number.
Okay.
Well, we're not,
in many
we're not trying
ways.
to exclusive, but what we do is we'll send an email out and tell everyone that's been here that they're welcome to invite whoever they want. But we're more interested in other musicians than gawkers.
Okay, that makes
We do have people come. My mother came for instance.
To gawk.
To
to
gawk.
gawk.
Yeah, she was a
She didn't
gawker.
play.
So, David, you've been to this.
I have been to this. I had to miss it, unfortunately, this past summer. So I probably missed the best one yet because it gets better every year, and this was the third.
Yeah, our third year, and it's grown. I think we started out with about 40 people coming, which was pretty cool. And then the next year, I think it maybe got into the 60s, and then this year a few of us counted, and we had about 85 altogether for the week.
I haven't been able to make it yet, but hopefully someday.
Did you get an invite? I'm
No,
sorry.
I haven't been invited.
Yeah,
so you
well,
don't want me to
we'll,
come.
David was supposed to invite you. He's the one on your mailing list.
Oh, okay, that's right. You could invite me, David.
My bad.
Okay,
It's okay.
maybe next year.
We'll make
It's
sure.
usually
that-
the third week in August. But what we do is
I wasn't going to say when it was in case you wanted to keep
Our-
that a secret. Like I said,
our
cat-
good friend Molly Davis, who's married to Danny Davis, she's the one that family we want there because they're so much fun. So when she gets to pick her vacation days, which she has to do in January, she'll call and say, we got this week open.
and that's when
what we
Valley
do.
Top happens.
Molly and Danny and Chloe.
Cleo,
Cleo.
Leo
And
and Roy.
Roy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they all play music, including Molly's father, Wally. He plays fiddle. It's just a really amazing musical family.
all right, so I think you have another song for us. Do you have something in mind? Oh, this is a cooking show. Oh, it's a culinary music show, right, David?
Right.
Okay, so do you have any cooking themed songs?
There's a
Yes.
couple here. Do you want to do the...
We could
Come
try.
up and see sometime?
We could
We'll try
try
that.
it. We'll try this song.
This has food references in it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take it away.
cold night, the moon was shining bright. I spied a great big possum, boys, he was out of sight. Why don't you come out and see me sometime? Why don't you come out and see me sometime? Eat your breakfast before you start, bring your dinner in your hand, and leave before supper time. Well, I went out and I got my axe and I chopped that gentleman down. We're gonna have a great big supper, boys, when the possum hits the ground. Why don't you come out and see me sometime? Why don't you come out and see me sometime? Eat your breakfast before you start, bring your dinner in your hand, and leave before supper time. Taught him how to walk around. That catfish got so used to being on land, he fell in the river and drowned. Why don't you come out and see me sometime? Why don't you come out and see me sometime? Eat your breakfast before you start, bring your dinner in your hand, and leave before supper time. See me sometime. Eat your breakfast before you start, bring your dinner in your hand, and leave before supper time. Those Wakefield people are very slow in the country and the town, and when they bake their cornbread, it often comes out brown. Why don't you come out and see me sometime? Why don't you come out and see me sometime? Eat your breakfast before you start, bring your dinner in your hand, and leave before supper time. Why don't you come out and see me sometime? Why don't you come out and see me sometime? Eat your breakfast before you start, bring your dinner in your hand, and leave before supper time.
We're back at the Two Cat Kitchen, and it's time for the culinary part of the show. Have you guys been up to anything
Culinarily related?
Culinarily related.
Of course, we've been working our way through a book on Scottish cuisine, the Highlanders Cookbook.
Well, those are two words that I wouldn't put together necessarily,
Well,
Scottish and cuisine.
They don't go together well at all.
Okay.
So they're recipes from Scotland, and Rory being a MacLeod, I thought it might be fun to get a cookbook from 1966 and work through each recepe. So every night we try a different recipe out of this book. And
How, you guys look okay. I mean, you've been doing this for a while. You haven't.
That's how we lost all this weight.
I know you guys look great.
well, so the one we're going to try tomorrow night, not tonight, because I'll tell you why. But the fish are still hanging up drying. But it's called Ritzard Haddies, and
Okay.
you take your Haddie and you gut it, and then you cover it with salt. And then you string it up, and on a very heavy wire
Through the eyes.
through the eyes.
Well,
And
actually, for our listeners, your Haddie is what is that?
it's a haddock. It's just a haddock.
A fish.
Yeah,
Ah.
yeah, fish. Then you're supposed to hang it up to dry in the open air, and the cookbook says. On Cape Cod, a northwest breeze through an open barn is favored. So we don't have that. So I think what we'll do is park our pickup truck on the northwest face of our house, and we'll just hang the fish up in our pickup truck
Okay.
to dry. And then you take them down after they're dried about 2 or 3 days, and
Yeah, that ought to go over really well with the neighbors, I think. They'll appreciate that.
you skin them, and then you dot them with butter and broil them, and you eat them, and that's it. But there's
On a dare.
on a dare. There's a history to this too, that back in the day, the Scottish people had sort of used all the barns that were on the northwest parts of the island, or facing northwest, and they were maxed out. There were Haddie just hanging in all of the barns. So they would get in their sailboats, their ships, and they'd sail over to America,
Cape Cod.
to Cape Cod, and they would find, they'd come ashore and they'd find barns that were facing the northwest, and they'd just go house to house and knock on the door and ask if they could hang their Haddies in the barns.
And of course, no one could understand what they were saying. But
And so,
Yeah, I can see all kinds of problems with this. David, don't you think so? I mean, it didn't take, it wasn't like they went overnight across the Atlantic.
right, the
you know?
fish would probably not be too good. Maybe.
well, no, they were salted, so
Oh.
they were salted fish, and so so the
they-
Scottish people came.
Okay. So you're
They're
talking
already
like-
dried, but they just need that northwest barn.
Oh, okay.
breeze.
Something like that. I'm not clear
Kind
on
of
the history. I mean, that's not
season.
Okay.
my thing. But so anyway, they hang their Haddies in the Cape Codders' barns, and actually one of the towns in Cape Cod was called Hanging Haddie, and after a while the townspeople had a meeting. They said, we can't have a town named Hanging Haddie, mainly because we have codfish here, not Haddies.
Yeah, okay.
haddock. And it's kind of
Hanging
bawdy.
coddy, maybe.
Hanging Coddy, yeah. And then it sounded bawdy, so the townspeople changed the name to,
Had 'em?
I think Haddam, yeah.
Had him? Okay.
Or
We'll go with that.
Or Chatham.
maybe.
I think it was
Sounds
Chatham.
believable.
Yeah.
But one of the
Okay.
other parts of that was when people would go by a village on Cape Cod that had Hanging Haddie, they knew that the Scottish sailors were there, and they always brought great whiskey, so they would stop in and try to get their whiskey.
Oh.
So that was the trade, is that you can hang your fish in my barn if you
Right.
pass me a bottle.
Bring in the whiskey. So that's what we're going to try tomorrow night. Well, I mean, we're going to pull the pickup truck around the side of the house and start hanging the Haddies out
Okay.
tomorrow. I don't know. We can invite you back if
Yeah,
you'd like
okay.
to when we start cooking them.
Yeah, we'll see if I'll let you know. Let me check my schedule.
Oh, and then the other one, I think the following night we're going to do the rabbit, and we have to go get a rabbit. Rabbit and what was it? Oh, there's all sorts of good things. No, I can't find it.
Wait a minute. Welsh rabbit or
No.
Scottish rabbit?
It's called
Rabbit
Scots rabbit curry.
Oh,
Scots rabbit curry.
so it's
Yeah.
So what is curry in the Scottish sense? I know
Probably
what Indian
salt.
curry is.
Yeah, so curry in this book is 1 teaspoon of curry powder.
Oh, so they actually use curry powder.
Yeah, so here's the recipe. 6 slices of bacon, 1 fat fresh rabbit.
Fat.
Fresh rabbit.
I know where you can get
Or
one of
2
those.
skinny ones.
Two skinny, somewhat stale rabbits.
Yeah, you can. I don't know. Does Petco sell rabbits still? So anyway, 2
We'll edit
cups.
that out. No, it's not appropriate.
I can't say Petco.
Well, you can't say that you're going to go to Petco and buy a rabbit.
I just asked if Petco has rabbits. That was it.
What kind of podcast do you think this is? We don't condone action like that.
Well, so after that, then you 2 cups of stock and 1 teaspoon of curry powder for a big fat rabbit, and then flour, sliced celery, chopped onions, grated coconut. Sounds like a festive dish, and sliced mushrooms. salt and pepper.
There you go. I wouldn't think they would have all those festive elements in Scottish cooking.
Yeah.
But now that I'm,
Coconut. I
Yeah,
don't
they wouldn't
know.
have a coconut.
Says it in the recipe. So
maybe
So,
they were they a seafaring lot? Maybe they brought back
coconuts.
coconuts from. Where do you bring back coconuts from, David?
That's like Polynesia.
Polynesia coconuts.
What about Jamaica?
Jamaica coconuts.
Maybe Jamaica.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't specify where the coconuts should be from. Maybe
Coconuts don't grow just anywhere, though. I'll tell you that right now. You can't grow them around here.
I think the west coast of Scotland has palm trees.
Oh, no kidding.
No kidding.
Well, then maybe
And
that's
that's
where
where coconuts
the
are, huh?
coconuts come from.
All
Okay.
right.
Well, thank you very much for that.
So there you go. That's
those
us.
culinary insights.
Indeed.
And I think we'll wrap things up with one other thing we need to ask you, though, that we ask everybody on the Two Cat Kitchen is, what is your earliest musical memory?
And think hard.
Don't just say something
Yeah.
from the top of my brain.
No.
Okay. You want me to go first?
Yes.
Can I have two?
You can have two.
That way I don't have to have one.
You get Rory's.
Well, the first one, it's very vivid in my mind. When I was a toddler, my mother would take me to my brother's piano lesson. And we would sit there and listen to him have his piano lesson. But I would get up and toddle over to his piano teacher, who had a broad canvas in the back. And I would pat the rhythm on her bottom as my brother was playing. And I got really good at playing rhythms.
So you were percussion.
I was a
your
percussionist.
You're showing,
initially.
that's
That's number one.
a very interesting musical memory. Yeah. Do you have another one?
I do sort of follow that up again with
Percussion.
and rhythm. My brother later on, as I got older, he gave me a record of the Monkees as a birthday gift, and a set of maracas, and I sat in my room probably for a year and played that record over and over again and played the maracas to that record.
Wow.
And I think at that point my mother thought something was very wrong with me. I knew there was talk about counseling and things, but
Yeah,
I seemed to
well,
get through just fine. I think that introduced me eventually into, the world of music, and I found old time.
Well, that's how it happens.
You got to pull out your maracas next time. You guys
I
have
don't
the-
know where those went.
the
I think my
bell
mom
top.
took them away from me eventually. So,
Okay, Rory, top that.
Well, I can't top it. There's no way. I probably should have gone first. The only way I could be shut up as a 2 and 3-year-old was put in front of a radio classical, and I distinctly remember. I think it was CRT. No, it was Pavane for a Dead Princess. It's a beautiful tune. I think it's Ravel.
Yeah, Ravel.
Pavane for Infant Mart or something. It's a beautiful
No kidding.
French
Yeah.
horn.
Yeah.
so, if your sister had given you maracas, who knows
I know.
what you could have done
Yeah.
in front of that radio.
So that's my.
Wow.
I remember 2 years old listening to that.
Okay.
Now, I think they use it as like when they did their station ID, they use that as a bed.
Well,
Well, thank you for that. That was awesome. And thanks again so much for being guests on the Two Cat Kitchen.
thank
do one
you.
more?
Yeah, and I think we should take it out with one more tune. What do you
want
think?
to go to A and do this, or you want to do the other one?
Let's do the peas in a
Okay.
pot.
Peas in a pot.
Whole cake of
And
bacon.
a whole cake of bacon.
Sandol and Rory here in the Two Cat Kitchen.
Welcome back. And now it's time for Taking the Mystery Out of History with Mr. O'Malley.
We take the mystery out of history on the Two Cat Kitchen Show.
Here we are, and taking the mystery out of history with Mr. O'Malley. John, thanks for joining us again. Always great to have you.
My pleasure.
And so we were just curious about this fact that maybe it's not a fact that we just heard, that Scottish people invaded Cape Cod to confiscate barns to dry their haddock. Was there any truth in that, Johnny? And was there any historical precedent for this?
I'm here to take the mystery out of history, and that's a mystery that I've never heard of.
Oh, okay.
But you never know.
You never know.
The Scottish people are sort of secretive, and they might have invaded Cape Cod, and we didn't even know it.
Wow, that could be.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is you don't have any historical record of that event.
No. They more or less invaded, the Scots-Irish, and the Scottish people came later. Scots-Irish were mainly from Ulster, the northern part of Ireland. And they came mainly in the 1700s and the 1800s to Virginia and North Carolina and Kentucky, the classic Appalachians, roots of the Ulster immigration. So, I don't think a lot of Scottish came to New England during colonial times. Not to hijack the barns.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. Now we know. But what else can you tell us about Scottish history, Scottish people?
Yeah. Well, the Scottish were a very interesting, segment of the British Isles, because people often associate Great Britain with the English. And the English are only the great part of the landmass of the British Isles. And Scotland is a Celtic country, and they speak Celtic Scottish, and they're very much related to the Welsh and Cornish people and the Irish. And where they separated from the Irish is during the Protestant Reformation, and they became separated from the Church of England, the Anglican Church, which was, Robin Williams called it Catholic Light. The Episcopal Church in America is the Anglican Church in England, and the Scottish, subscribed to a brand of Protestantism that was Presbyterianism, and much more rigid, much more fundamentalist, and much more lacking in the rituals of the Catholic Church, which the Anglicans. So the Anglicans, who control Britain, they look down upon the Scottish. And when the Scottish were granted land in the north part of Ireland, the six counties that we call today Ulster, they fought on the side of
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stay tuned.
And they moved to the frontier. and they moved into the mountains in the Shenandoah Valley and eastern Kentucky, and that's where we begin our story of the Scottish influence on American music. And it's really a fascinating chapter in American musicology and music history. Out of that tradition came some of the roots of rock and roll and gospel music, of course, combining with other traditions like African Americans. And when the railroad came up in the 1840s or 1850s up into Appalachia, African Americans often were enslaved in those areas, and they worked on the railroad. And post-Civil War, they also they began to, converge with the traditions of the Scots-Irish, the Ulster descendants in Appalachia. And they brought the banjo, and the Scottish already had these rich traditions of gospel music, what we called gospel music.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So the Scottish brought the banjo? Brought a banjo?
No.
Oh.
The African Americans brought the banjo.
Oh, yeah, I thought the banjo was from Africa.
The banjo was
yeah.
an African instrument.
Yeah.
So the Scots-Irish were not accustomed to the banjo.
Yeah.
But they were into the fiddle and, this cross integration of musical traditions they probably learned from each other.
Been here, got everything I had. Riley's been here, he's got my furniture and gone. Riley, come to my house, these are the words he said. He told that big old driver, take down my row foot bed. Riley's been here, he's got my furniture and gone. Makes no difference to a white man, white as Christmas snow. If you don't pay Mr. Riley, he'll take your furniture for sure. Riley's been here, he's got my furniture and gone. Riley, he's a rich man, and he lives on 16th Street. Every Saturday evening, Mr. Riley, you will meet. Riley's been here, he's got my furniture and gone. Every Sunday morning he gives to charity. Riley's been here, he's got my furniture gone.
here in the U.S., and it started much earlier than that, with the gospel music being played on the radio and Appalachian music being put on records, so you could go into a record store, and buy this music that was relatively alien to the vast majority of Americans, and suddenly they were exposed to this Appalachian music, this traditional music that had its roots back in Ulster and Ireland and Scotland and the Orkney Islands. And all of a sudden you have this convergence of blues playing on the radio, and you have jazz playing on the radio, and also this Appalachian music, which is the roots of country music.
Oh, okay.
And actually the roots of rock and roll.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never would have thought.
Yeah, well, you know.
We can thank the Scottish for
Connect the
rock and roll.
dots. It all goes back to Scotland and why they left, because there was no northwest winds and filling the barns.
That's right. Oh, they used up all the barns. No, I guess that's that's great. We've kind of sorted out the mystery behind that statement, I think.
Yeah.
And learned a lot more about Scottish history in the U.S. here too, and especially with music, which is very interesting.
Yeah. All things come full circle, and the circles get messy.
Yeah. Everything kind of intertwines.
It comes culture.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
That's fascinating. Hey, okay, I think we can wrap things up here. And I have a question for you. So I don't know if you can help us with this, but so getting back to the Scottish, when you say something is Scottish, I think an adjective that you can use is Scotch. Is that right? Scotch. So let me just ask you, what is the deal with Scotch tape?
Oh, wow, I knew you were going to say that.
What is it, from Scotland? Or?
Let me see if the truth gets in the way of my response. Because never get the truth get in the way of an origin story.
Oh, okay.
Right? So Scott's tape was
Scotch tape. Yeah. We all know Scotch tape, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
Scotch tape was invented by, obviously, a Scotsman.
What? Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh.
In Minnesota.
Well,
and
I know,
there was very few Scotsmen in Minnesota because the Norwegians kept them out.
No kidding. So that's where it came from.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating.
And the Scotsmen started the 3M company.
Oh, okay.
Which makes
so it is
the
Scotch.
best tape in the world, supposedly.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I'm getting paid by 3M.
You represent 3M. Scotch pine, for example. Scotch pine.
Oh.
Is that from that tree from Scotland?
Probably. It was probably because most of Scotland is in the northern hemisphere of northwestern Europe. There probably are similar pines there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't know if they brought the Scots pine to America.
Yeah, maybe the early Scottish settlers brought pine cones in their satchels.
They brought Christmas trees.
Yeah, that's it. They needed that. Okay, a couple more here. Scotch egg. Do you know a Scotch egg?
No.
I don't know that one either.
I don't know Scotch.
I know it exists, but okay. Scotch Terrier, we know. That Scotch Terrier
Scotch
is
Terrier.
is that a dog species?
Yeah, it probably it originated in Scotland.
A dog
and
breed from Scotland. Yeah.
You know, they were probably a breed. I don't know that much about dogs, but dogs were bred as hunters. And,
okay.
The terrier is supposedly a really great sniffer.
Yeah. And hunts small animals like on a farm or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, we got that. And then finally, the last question I have is Scotch Guard.
Scotch Guard.
But I think you answered that already because Scotch Guard came out of the aforementioned 3M company.
Yeah.
And that's Scotch is kind of their trademark. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's great. Thanks, John. Thanks for taking the mystery out of Scottish history for us here. And we hope to see you again soon.
That's all we have time for in this episode of the Two Cat Kitchen. We'd like to thank our musical guests, Sandol Astrausky and Rory MacLeod.
Also thanks to John O'Malley.
I'm Rick McKinney.
And I'm David Luken.
We'll see you next time right here at the Two Cat Kitchen.
The two